Hello and welcome to the That's a Great Question podcast. Today's great question is, what actually matters in the second half of life? When you've lived some life, maybe reached mid-career or your kids are grown and have left home, how do you reset your priorities? What matters now? What does the next season look like? There's a popular saying that nobody on their deathbed ever wished they'd spent more time at the office. It's a cheeky reminder that when people face the end of their lives, their real priorities become more clear than ever. There's a palliative care nurse named Bronnie Ware who spent years writing down the regrets that were voiced to her by people in their dying moments. The top 5 list included things like, I wish that I had let myself be happier. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. And I wish I'd had the courage to live a life that was true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. Also in the top 5 most common regrets, especially among professional men, was this: I wish I had not worked so hard. According to Bronnie Ware, every male patient she cared for at the end of his life said this. They missed their children's youth, and they missed their spouse's companionship by working too much and too hard. Not one person at life's end wished for more money or promotions. They wished that they had spent more quality time with the people in their lives that they loved and who loved them. So if you're entering the second half of life, maybe you're in your mid-30s, your 40s, 50s, or 60s, it's crucial to ask what actually matters now and moving forward. If some of the things we chased in our earlier years turn out to be less important, what should we start moving to the top of our priority list? In my experience as a pastor and also as a man in my 50s, the answer comes down to 2 things: relationship and purpose. First, relationships, especially with God, family members, and our closest friendships. These are the relational treasures that are going to last. If you're a person of faith, your relationship with God becomes increasingly precious as you realize how fast time goes, not to mention how much you need God and His promises in a world where the mortality rate is still 1 person for every 1 person. There are also the most important people in your life: your spouse, your kids and grandkids, your close friends, your community. They matter more than any title or recognition or bank account ever will. No one nearing the end of life says, I wish I'd spent less time with my family. More often, I hear people say, I'm so glad I made time for the people I love. Or even, I wish I'd been there more. The Bible puts it this way: teach us, Lord, to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. That's Psalm 90. Numbering our days means remembering life is short. We don't have endless time, so it's important to spend it on what matters most. Wisdom is living with that in mind. So here's an illustration from the business world that makes the point. Brian Dyson, a former CEO of Coca-Cola, once described life as a game of juggling 5 balls. The balls are work, family, health, friends, and your spirit. He said, work is like a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. But the other 4 balls are made of glass. If you drop one of them, your family, your health, your friends, or your spiritual life, it can be scuffed or even shattered and it won't return. You must understand that and strive for balance in your life, Dyson firmly advised. It's a powerful and haunting image. It reminds us that a career can recover from setbacks. Jobs come and go, but relationships, health, and your soul, once damaged, they're harder to restore and recover. So we have to take great care to protect them. If you're in midlife or beyond, you might be feeling this intuitively. Maybe you've achieved some career goals. You've spent several decades working hard and climbing the ladder. Those are good accomplishments that should be celebrated and savored. There's no shame in doing a great job. We're made to work hard and to contribute. But it's also natural to start sensing a tug towards something more lasting and ultimate. I've had so many conversations with men who are approaching midlife who say, I want my life to count for something more. I want to invest in my family. I want to mentor others, maybe give back to my community or my church. That's wisdom speaking. It's the realization that success without significance feels hollow for a reason, and that significance comes from serving and loving and pouring into others and into your relationship with God, not just accumulating recognition and toys for ourselves. This brings us to the second thing that truly matters: purpose. And by purpose, I mean living for something that is bigger than you are. It means making a contribution that's going to outlive you. In the second half of life, many people start asking, what will my legacy be? That question can refocus us in a beautiful way. Instead of how can I climb higher and how can I accumulate more, we start asking, who can I lift up? What kind of impact can I make with the years I have left? It's a great question. It might mean pouring your wisdom into younger men and women in your field. It might mean spending time volunteering for a cause that you care about. It might mean finally pursuing that calling or that passion that you felt nudged toward when you were younger, but you postponed it. For me, that calling and passion for many years has been pouring into shepherding and mentoring leaders, which since about a year ago, I'm finally getting to do full time. For many, this will mean making a shift from making more money to making more of a difference. But who knows? Maybe both will happen for you. But the main thing is, as Bronnie Ware would say to us, we don't want to spend another minute accumulating regrets for our deathbed. The question moving forward is, how do I honor God and pour into the people that God has put in my path, and in such a way that future regrets are minimized? I think of the business leader who, after a successful early retirement, began using the same strategic skills that built his great company to serve nonprofits and then to mentor young, purpose-driven entrepreneurs. He told me that he often felt more fulfilled in this second act than he did in his years leading the company. Not because that first chapter lacked meaning, it didn't lack meaning at all, but because he had discovered fresh joy in aligning his work more directly and explicitly with the flourishing of people and meaningful causes. When we bring our gifts, our drive, and our experience into service of others and of God's purposes, we don't diminish our work. Instead, we deepen it. And in that giving, we often find a richer, more enduring, and more meaningful kind of life. If you sense in yourself a desire to refine your motivations and priorities, the second half of life is a gracious opportunity God has given you to realign. It's never too late to revisit what you value and how you spend your time. In fact, the wisdom you've gained from experience can make your impact in later years even greater. You can become the father or mother or the friend or mentor that perhaps earlier you were too busy to be. You can seek God more wholeheartedly now, with the urgency that comes from knowing your remaining days are precious and few. Jesus gave us a promise for this. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. It's Matthew 6. In other words, put first things first, God and the things that God values, and the rest of your life will fall into place as you do that. Heading into life's later seasons, we have a chance for a reset. We can loosen our grip on lesser things like the urge to prove ourselves or chase status, and tighten our grip on what we know matters: family, friends, character, and a God-oriented life. So what matters now? Loving well, doing justly, loving mercy, walking humbly with God, deepening your relationship with him, being there for the people that he's put in your path, leaving the world, people, places, and things a little better than you found them. Those are the things you'll be glad you invested in when you look back on your life. The second half of life, done well, is like a beautiful sunset. There's a warmth and a depth that comes from a life refocused on what counts. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to the channel and share this video with others. There are also 7 other videos in this series that you can watch at any time. Let's consider what it means to live wisely and generously. Life is too short to spend on trivial things. Let's major in what matters. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to our next great question. Grace and peace.